So now here's the next bit here is a local bill. Now, local bills are usually bills that are produced by local councils that require government legislation to enact them in the future. In Wellington, our local bill was the town belt that basically protected it from being able to be sold off for development by any future council and to stop the commercial trade inside the area. This particular bill is about a boathouse that's on public that is basically was established through a act, including has some interesting history bits, including it used to have a set of public baths, as they call them. They got closed because of polio.
Yep.
So let's kick off with Simon Watt, the member bringing forward, which is quite interesting because I think he's a minister. It's not usual for a minister to bring a local bill. It's usually a backbench MP or something. But let's kick it off to find out what the Auckland Harbour Board and Takapuna Borough Council Empowering Act Amendment Bill.
I move that the Auckland Harbour Board and Takapuna Borough Council Empowering Act Amendment Bill be now read a first time. I nominate the Governance and Administration Committee to consider the bill. At the appropriate time, I intend to move that the bill be reported to the House by 24 February 2025. Madam Speaker, I am proud to present this bill, the Auckland Harbour and Takapuna Borough Council Empowering Act Amendment Bill, as a Member of Parliament for North Shore. We see few private or local bills in this House. This is the first one for this Parliament and one of only a handful that I have seen in my entire time here in this House. It's quite rare for a Member of Parliament to take a bill through the House that is so specific to their electorate. But I'm privileged to perform this service on behalf of the beautiful North Shore electorate. The North Shore has everything: beautiful beaches, thriving communities and businesses. I couldn't hope for a better place to raise my boys and represent as a Member of Parliament. We also have a heritage that makes the community unique. Part of that heritage is the Takapuna Boating Club's Bayswater Clubhouse, of which I have a photo in its current state at the moment. Stories of people meeting their future spouses at this venue were common, and the collective memories of this site lives on in the memories of many. The clubhouse served the club and the community, hosting dances and social and sporting events for many years. Sadly, though, the clubhouse has seen better days. The boating club has since moved on to newer accommodation, and the once proud building is now in a sorry state. That takes us back to the local bill and how this issue landed on my desk as a Member of Parliament for North Shore. In 1923, when the club was first opened, the land was purchased under an Act of Parliament which sets the conditions for its use. The conditions set at the time made sense and ensured that the clubhouse could function in the public interest. Sadly, though, those restrictions have become increasingly burdensome. For example, one of the stipulated uses for the site is for public swimming baths, something that there are few of in 2024. The saltwater swimming pool attached to the site was closed in the 1950s, partially because of the polio epidemic, which best demonstrates how outdated this act has become. The club cannot lease the site for anything more than a peppercorn rental, which is the actual term written into the legislation, including that made sense at the time, but once again, the Parliament wanted to ensure that the site was available for the public. In reality, though, the club serves neither the public nor the club, and the site can't be used for anything other than what the Act says, and can't even make enough rent to cover its maintenance. Very quickly, it became easy to understand why nothing had ever been done, as amending a local bill involves passing another local bill. So began the long process that has led us here to today to debate this bill. The bill in my name amends the conditions set out in the original Act, so the clubhouse can be used for commercial purposes, while still requiring that the principal use of the land remains for community purposes. The bill also stipulates that all money received under any leasing arrangement should be used to maintain the buildings and the land on the site for community purposes. This strikes the right balance. It allows for some commercial usage, but also uses the proceeds for the good of the community and for maintaining this heritage asset. All involved believe that this property should, as originally intended, be primarily used for community purposes. I'm pleased that this bill includes that. The efforts to get this bill before the House have been substantial, and I'd like to thank all of those who have made that possible. This issue was first brought to my attention and the attention of many in my community by reporting on it, particularly by Caroline Williams from Stuff. Thank you for your work in shining light on this issue. Thank you also to the Takapuna Boating Club's Commodore, James Jordan. The club's advocacy to bring this asset up to working order and keep it in the use for public good has been remarkable, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds for this clubhouse. I'd also like to give tribute to former club president Barry Ward and the late Ralph Roberts, whom I know wanted to see this happen. Lastly, I'd like to thank Jack Boltar, my parliamentary advisor, who has done much of the heavy lifting behind the scenes to get this bill to the House today. While I'm shepherding this bill as a local MP, it was drafted and managed by Auckland Council, the Devonport Takapuna local board and their hard-working teams. I want to thank all those elected members who helped this along its way, and the governing body of Auckland Council, which unanimously supported this bill and sent it here to this House. Finally, I'd like to thank all of those in our community who contributed to this process and provided feedback. The community has had the opportunity to give feedback on this draft bill as part of getting a local bill in front of this House. When I discuss the issue with those on the North Shore, the feedback is clear. Our community is better because of our shared heritage and cultural touchstones. The Bayswater Clubhouse is one of those. And I ask for the support of all members here today for the first reading of this bill. If the bill passes today, it will head off to Select Committee where there will be further opportunity for public feedback. I have no doubt, Mr Speaker, that the feedback will be loud and clear. Let's get out of the way of rebuilding and managing this treasured asset. Mr Speaker, I am proud to commend this bill to the House.
Mr Speaker.
The question is that the motion be agreed.
Quite a fan of this Takapuna or Takapuna. Don't know what
I
the
don't
hell
know. Paul Barlow will be able to say it. He lives in the neighbour electorate.
Takapuna. Quite a fan of this Takapuna bill. It's a practical way to fund restoration of historical buildings. I like it. The one thing that I like out of National today is this bill. I don't know why Auckland didn't do it sooner.
Yeah, I don't know if they had anyone who, maybe when Maggie Barry was the local MP, she spent too much time helicoptering in and out that she didn't actually deal with the issue. Anyone who I've heard from various different people in the constituency, when Maggie Barry was the local MP, she couldn't even make it to Anzac Day.
No.
So I think that whereas Simon Watt's a hell of a lot more on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, and it is evident.
Yeah, this is one of the very few things that I like that he's actually proposed. Yeah, this is actually a pretty good bill. Auckland needs it. They've got a lot of historical buildings that could be used for commercial purposes. This is a great way to keep them up and running without bowling them over. Because like in Masterton, where I live down the road from, or up the road from, depending on where you're orientated. But they just bowled everything over, and it's really fucking annoying seeing these beautiful, beautiful historical buildings just being flattened like a pancake.
I do know that my first time heading out of Ekatahuna, I thought I was heading north when I was heading south. It does have that weird feel.
Has that effect, yes.
Yeah, you probably know what I mean when I say that.